Welcome to the April episode of ISSA Canada's Coffee Talk Forum. As many of you are aware, ISSA Canada has recently formed a new distributor council to shed light on the wholesale distribution sector and develop new strategies for our association to better service this industry sector. On top of that, through the efforts of co-captain Shannon Hall, Vice President of Sales and Marketing for Dustbane Products, ISSA Canada established the ISSA Hygiea Network Canada region, a signature ISSA charity dedicated to enhancing the careers of women in the cleaning industry. In today's episode of the Coffee Talk Forum, we're going to bring these two bodies together and speak with some successful women rooted in the wholesale distribution sector. In fact, together, between our moderator and our special guests today, there is close to 100 years of industry expertise at the table. We're going to learn about our guests' career journeys and the strategies that they've implemented to ensure not only their own career success, but the success of their companies that they work with. So today, I'm pleased to introduce Fabiola Aviles, who is the Director of Purchasing for Merchants Paper Company in Windsor, Ontario. Prior to taking on her current role as Director of Purchasing in January 2021, Fabiola joined Merchants Paper as a sales assistant in February 2019. She was promoted to category manager in September of that year and became strategic manager in July 2020. As a Director of Purchasing, Fabiola is responsible for all departments within the organization and mainly focuses on realizing the strategic sourcing goals of Merchants Paper to achieve both a desired product mix and profitability within the company. Fabiola is also responsible for negotiations to develop win-win strategies that achieve sustainable relationships with suppliers. Also joining us today is Hallie Peary, Customer Experience Manager at GT French in Hamilton, Ontario. Hallie has over 25 years experience within the industry. She started out in GT French's wholesale outlet 25 years ago and has taken on various roles since then, including pricing coordinator, sales coordinator, strategic account support, and now customer experience manager. Hallie has been in her current role for the past 6 years. She is responsible for leading the customer service, media coordination, allocation, and territory coordination teams, as well as the wholesale outlets. It is her passion to continue to build and maintain a trusted partnership with each of the company's customers. Robin Seitz is the Marketing Director of Advantage Maintenance Products, a national Canadian wholesaler to the Jansan and industry supply sectors. Robin's artistic background in painting, photography, and as a published author complements over 25 years of experience with Advantage Maintenance Products. As a Mohawk College graduate with a diploma and several certificates, Robin's eagerness to expand her knowledge and skill set never ends and is reflected in her marketing and artistic efforts. Other than her family, her deepest passion remains on the ice rink, where she developed her love of ringette as a child and continues on as a provincially qualified official, mentoring other referees and players of this Canadian invented sport. And finally, our moderator for today's session, Tom Fournier, who is the owner of Shades Mills Group and chair of ISSA Canada's new Distributor Council. Tom founded the Shades Mills Group in 2018. He is a highly recognized thought leader on sales strategies and sales models. He draws upon his research and consulting work on B2B sales to help both distributors and manufacturers. Tom is a frequent contributor to ISSA Canada in a variety of capacities. Prior to founding the Shades Mills Group, Tom led Kimberly Clark's business-to-business sales team in Canada, where he was known for his ability of building outstanding customer relationships, creating exceptional sales teams, and consistently driving profitable sales growth. So before I turn the mic over to our moderator today, I just want to remind everyone that if you have any questions or comments along the way, please raise your hand or utilize the chat feature. So with that said, Tom, take it away.
Thank you, Tanya, and thank you for all you do, both for Hygeia and facilitating these coffee time talks. I really appreciate that. So the first couple of questions are going to direct to all our panelists. We will rotate through. So I'm going to begin with Robin. Robin, what is it about this industry that brought you into it? And more importantly, what has kept you here?
Well, thanks, Tom. First of all, I spent my first year out of college in pharmaceutical manufacturing, which obviously I'm sure everyone's aware must be kept very clean. But my move to Advantage was partly location-based, but also because cleaning is obviously a natural progression after I had spent quite a bit of time helping in the manufacturing sector with the cleaning aspect. Because I'm knowledge-driven, I find that in particular, Advantage Maintenance has provided me opportunities to learn constantly with regards to experience and the technology involved in cleaning, which has kept me here.
Excellent. Thank you. How about you, Haley?
So GG French is a family-owned company, and I was lucky enough to be born into that family. So that's kind of how I started there. A young teenager, just thinking I was doing a part-time thing, and it eventually evolved into what it is now. But what keeps me there is there's so many things going on within the industry, and it's constantly evolving. So like what Robin said, there's all of these new innovation things that are going on and new things to learn, and I love to learn. So every day is a new challenge, and I love that.
Excellent. How about you, Fabiola?
Thank you, Tom. It's funny, I actually ran a private laboratory prior to even thinking about this industry, completely two separate worlds. And I was a customer of merchants. So becoming a customer of merchants really caught my attention. Complete different way of managing. And I joined a team, and my experience from prior was timing, to be honest with you, because when I moved to merchants, 2019, then, within a year, we got hit with a pandemic. And luckily, with all the experience that I gained at my prior employer, I was able to easily come into this industry. Now what keeps me here, it's really what Robin and Haley were saying, the innovation, the challenge, the everyday learning. Just when you think you have it kind of figured out, really it's out the window. Every day is a new experience. Every day, if anybody out there has a crystal ball, I don't want it, because I welcome the change. I welcome that I get to go home and that I can say, wow, I didn't think this would happen today. It is definitely a learning experience for me on a daily basis. And it just helps me to be better. And it helps me to really appreciate what everyone goes through as a team, just to be able to do your best, provide your best. And it's just definitely interesting. And it's just helping me become better. So I love that I made this change in my life. It's made me realize more about myself than I ever thought before. I thought I had it all figured out before. No, not really. So I love it. I really do. There are some days that it's like, oh no, but the challenge, the teamwork, the just everything makes it all together. So I'm very lucky to be in this position.
Excellent. Well, thank you. This next question, we'll start with Haley. When you first started out, what challenges did you face, and how did you overcome them? And you faced early on are still challenges today.
Thanks, Tom. So I would say in wholesale distribution, the biggest challenge I would say is that you're selling a lot of different products. So you're not focusing on one line necessarily. So you have to learn all about them in order to help your customer and provide solutions. So that was a very big challenge in the beginning. And if we're going back 25 years ago, there wasn't a lot of training that was made readily available by our vendor partners. That's something that was just kind of getting in motion at that time. So there was a lot of self-learning involved, and the internet wasn't as big as it is now. There weren't websites that are as good as they are now. So you kind of had to figure it out on your own. And I looked to a lot of the senior, like when I worked in the outlet, I looked to a lot of the senior people that were working in the outlet for information and knowledge, and just asking a lot of questions, really. And as far as whether there are challenges still today, I would say yes, because the amount of SKUs are still an issue, not an issue, but it's hard to know everything about everything. But the training is more readily available by our vendor partners. It goes right from our sales team all the way down to our wholesale outlets. And then the websites that the vendor partners have created have been a really good resource for knowledge.
Yeah, it's constantly changing and evolving, eh? That
Yeah.
products, practices, protocols, customers' needs. So great.
Yeah, what Fabiola said was like, what you know today is out the window tomorrow.
Yes.
So it's that constant like getting up on the latest and greatest of what's going on.
Or the old adage, if you stand still, you're actually falling behind. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
All right. How about you, Fabiola?
I gotta tell you, the challenges, it came differently for me just because I when I first started, I came from the healthcare to a complete different industry. So trying to learn what, being in this type of retail wholesaler and the products. I mean, we carry over 5,000 SKUs. Just that alone was a challenge. But I always welcome it. And like Haley was saying, I relied heavily on my peers, my mentors, and the training vendors, which it's more active today than it was, when I first joined Merchant. So all of that combined, I think, is really what helped me just kind of get up to speed, because adapting is in this industry is definitely something you have to welcome. You have to adapt very quickly. Otherwise, like you said, if you stay still, then you fall behind. So definitely keeping on a day-to-day basis, relying on mentors, on my peers, on vendors to really train you and help you understand the product, the service, and all that combined. It's really what the challenges I faced. Today, I mean, it's a whole different level today, right? Again, the pandemic has been a blessing and a curse. It's been great because it really brought companies and teams together. At least that's what I experienced. Vendors who you never thought you would work with, you built on that relationship and the relationship got stronger. Vendors now are really go above and beyond. I know for GT French, actually, we have a partnership, and they really stepped up to the plate when we needed it the most. They were there for us, and again, so that partnership with our vendors is very important. And so it's a whole different level, but as long as you just keep moving and keep communicating and being on the same page, I think that really makes it easier. Rely on your team. And the more training you get, the easier it is just to again adapt and understand what's going on in today's industry.
Great. And then Robin.
I would say that I have similar experiences with, I was also young, like Haley, coming into the industry, maybe not a teenager, but I was certainly young. So it was definitely a lot of learning that needed to take place in order to be taken seriously. I couldn't have walked in off the street and been able to answer a question very quickly. We also carry as much as 5,000 products. We have over 2,000 on our website. Knowing what we have available takes time and requires a lot of learning. Back then, I also did not have access to the internet the way people do now. And so I also had to listen at meetings. I attended trade shows and listened very intently so that I was able to answer the questions when they came from our customers. So I also read trade magazines on a regular basis to understand what end users were facing, so that I understood what products in our basket would help those customers. I agree that there's still challenges with understanding that many SKUs when you enter a business with over 5,000 products available. And I certainly think it is easier. There's obviously videos on the line that you can learn how to use the products so you can explain it when someone has a question. And obviously access to your own website is certainly much easier than a simple catalog and looking through a computer system with only descriptions and minimal information. So.
Excellent. All right. So you're all women in key executive positions. Do you feel women coming into the industry have more of a chance to succeed today? Did you ever feel your career journey was hindered because of your gender? I'm going to start with Fabiola.
You know what? I have to say that's a very good question. I think it's different for everyone. I think women today have a much stronger voice than they did in the past. I think that, you know, supporting each other makes a big difference as well. I think that when you have a company that really has your back and supports you all the way, it does make a big difference. There were occasions where I would get you're too, you know, you come off as too intimidating, you're this, you're that. And then I would change the conversation. I would say, I think you meant I'm assertive, I'm confident, and things like that. And so that changes the tone, it changes then the relationship. And I think that building the confidence and you know, just kind of helping people see that you are on the same team, regardless of the gender, it makes a big difference. But I know that's actually a very, very good question. I mean, every day, you know, we face something, you know, well, just sometimes I do get well, you're a woman, you don't really understand that. But what I do is I don't focus on oh, you're a woman. I focus on the topic. And then, you know, by, you know, providing feedback, asking questions, then it's not more of oh, you're a woman. Now I get oh, okay, you're a team player. You know, then it starts to change, right? So I've had definitely some challenges that did, you know, hinder a little bit on my journey, but I think it's how you take it in. I don't take it personally. I just take that as an advantage, and then I kind of flip it back. And the more questions you're asked, the more confident you seem and feel. I think it goes a long way. And I think that as long as women, you always have your days, you always do. But if you know, support each other and give each other opportunity to rise above anything, I think that, and we're seeing it now, we are definitely more successful than we were before. And I think that the future ahead, it's looking a lot better than it did before. So I'm very definitely proud of supporting even our teammates here. You know, you show them that you're here, you listen to their ideas, you accept the feedback and the new ways of doing things. Everybody has suggestions. I think that really empowers them, and it just shows your support, right? And opportunity for growth, and not just professionally, but personally as well. So.
Excellent. Well done. How about you, Robin?
I think in the early days for me, I did feel hindered by being a female. This was primarily a male-dominated industry when I first arrived. And so trying to be clear that I was capable of learning and understanding the needs of our customers became a challenge, but I stepped up to the plate by learning. Again, I am very knowledge driven. So I think that's been very helpful for me. I mean, and I also, like Fabiola, being assertive, I've definitely shown my value by learning what I need to learn so that I can explain things when I need to. And so in that regard, as more women have entered the industry, I feel like they are definitely getting much more opportunity to succeed, because there are women like myself who have almost pioneered the way, created a path, and we are much more willing to help teach them so that they can get to where we are.
Great. And then Haley.
Yeah, so I definitely see more women in the types of positions that we all hold now more than ever. And that's something that I'm striving to continue that trend within our own company. So the majority of the teams that I manage are made up of women. There have been a lot of positions that we've created where the women on these teams move up kind of through the ranks. And, you know, we really like to promote from within. We like people to stay. We like good people to stay. So we want to invest in their future. And that's something that we really pride ourselves on. And it's a really great transition, especially for our customers, when you have people coming from the wholesale outlets where they're physically touching the product. They know what that product does. They know how the customers interact with it. And then you move them up into a customer service position where they're talking on the phones. They know what they can speak to. I just think it's really important to continue to drive that throughout the company.
Great, thank you. I was trying to keep track of my order of questions, and I've lost it. I think I started with Fabiola that time. So, Robin,
Yeah.
What are some of the important personal skills or characteristics everyone should embrace to have success in a wholesale distributor role?
Well, I think I'm tooting the same horn repeatedly here, but as far as it comes to me, an ever-present willingness to learn and adjust to both techniques and technology changes, and a great customer service mindset. If you are known to be helpful and knowledgeable, you become a very important resource.
Great. Haley.
Yeah, so I agree with Robin. I think we're all on a theme here. So having a thirst for knowledge is very important because things are changing almost by the minute, especially right now. One huge thing, especially coming from the customer service side of things, is to practice empathy. So the better understanding you have of your customers' needs, the better you can help them or provide a solution. Being an active listener is really important, listening to understand your customers' needs and problems that they're having instead of just listening to reply. And then again, what Robin spoke to, be consultative, be that person that your customer is like, you know what, I have an issue. I'm going to call Haley and I know that she's going to give me an answer and everything's just going to work out okay.
Awesome. Fabiola.
I have to agree with the ladies, Haley, Robin. I mean, you basically said everything that I was thinking of myself. Haley, I agree with you. I mean, the listening part is definitely key. Empathy and understanding and listening, and really not just the customer, but also your team, customer service, our sales team. I mean, they're the face of the company. They're the ones that are representing the customer, right? And their needs. And especially right now with all the craziness going on, I mean, our customers are very nervous and their cash flow is not the same and things like that. So definitely listening goes a long way. Being supportive, being knowledgeable, and ready to also ask for help. Right. I mean, all that goes along with it. So all that combined with Robin and Haley, it basically, I think that really said it all.
Great. Haley, what tools or resources have you utilized that's helped you grow professionally?
So I've done sales training with a company called Teneo Results, and I've also done their customer conversations program. And then I've also done the Mohawk Continuing Ed Future Ready Leadership Program. So all of those really touched on the thing that I took away the most from those courses was like the listening aspect of things, asking open-ended questions to understand, and then personality types. So being able to adapt to different personality types, being able to recognize the different personality types, not only with your customers, but within your own teams and your organization. And it just makes it easier to get the end result that you want if you understand that and practice that.
Excellent. I've encountered a lot of those programs and training as well. It sounds very familiar. Fabiola, how about yourself?
You know, I'm very much like Haley. I try my best to do at least 2 different things on a daily basis, just so that I can, you know, kind of keep up. I've done courses through the supply chain management. I try even through LinkedIn. I always let everyone know, hey, if you're in LinkedIn, they have courses in there that it really I find very helpful. I try to just kind of maintain on a day-to-day basis what's going on in the market, just so that, you know, as you are trying to help your team and your customers, you also want to make sure you're up to date with our vendors and things like that. YouTube, it's amazing everything that you can find in YouTube as well. Excel courses and things like that. So it just and try to definitely something that I'm doing for 2023 is reading at least any book that is within related to the industry that is going to benefit me in improving. I read at least 10 to 15 pages a day. So just a little bit of everything, so that again, I'm not sitting still. I love learning. I'm a lot like Robin. If something challenges me that I don't know about, here I am going through it and just searching about it and seeing what I can do to improve and understand it better, so that I can ask the right questions, help my team, provide the right feedback, and at the end of the day, make sure that the customer, the information that we're providing makes sense to them. Because if it doesn't, you lose them, then there goes that opportunity, right? So that's kind of how I also tools and resources that I use on a daily basis.
Great. And then Robin.
Well, I'm lucky that one of my most important tools is my memory. I have a fantastic memory, so I retain information quite easily. But I also I also read books and stuff, and I also spent a great deal of time working on my communication skills as an author. So I certainly, because most of my correspondence is via the written word, not necessarily on the phone, and I don't have as much customer interfacing as, say, Haley might, or possibly even Fabiola. But I definitely do a lot of research. The computer can be a fantastic tool, but you definitely have to stay objective and make sure that you're reading your information effectively as well. So,
All right. Here's an opportunity. If there's someone you'd like to give a shout out to that has been an influence in your career success, Fabiola?
I would definitely have to say two members of my team, Carol, our president, and Christine, she's our director of business development. These two amazing women have really shown me truly what it means to be in this industry. From someone coming from the healthcare to today's industry, they've been very supportive. Anything that I've ever asked, not sure about, or anything, I know that I can just pick up the phone, a quick text or anything like that. They've been, with their experience combined, they truly help me understand it better. And every day I learn something new from them. It's so easy to go to them and say, I don't know what it is. I don't know what this means. I'm completely lost. It's not English. My Spanglish is not working today. and it's just sit down for 5 minutes and they're like, okay, let's break it down and let's strategize and let's do this and let's do that. So shout out to them, because they've been truly, truly amazing. And I'm very lucky to be part of that team.
Excellent. How about yourself, Robin?
well, I'd like to actually thank both my previous employer, Ron Underwood, as well as the current owner of Advantage Maintenance, John. There wasn't a great deal of women in Advantage Maintenance products when I started here, which was part of the challenge. But they've both been very willing to give me opportunity to flourish and become what I am today. So I appreciate that from them.
Excellent. And then Haley.
Yeah, so I'd like to shout out to our president, Paul Martin, and our VP, Brett Allen, who have both been great mentors to me throughout all the positions that I've had at GT French. They provide that sounding board for new ideas. They allow me to be creative and innovative. Sometimes they think I'm a little bit crazy because of all the ideas I have, but they let me go through it and give me really good feedback. And they also trust the decisions that I make and let me make those decisions for my teams and for the betterment of the company. And then another person that I'd shout out to is Lisa Leach, who started Teneo Results, I think 25 years ago. She's been a great resource and kind of like a really good cheerleader for me and pushing me to really hone in on my leadership skills. And she recognized it right off the bat, which was kind of surprising to me, but yeah, she's been great and very supportive of me.
Excellent. All right, I'm going to start with Robin. What does your career playbook look like? Did you set personal goals? And if you knew then what you know now? Would you have changed anything on your journey?
Well, my playbook is full of scribbles and adjustment strategies because, like Fabiola said in the beginning, you have to constantly be adjusting here. This technology in the industry just changes, whether it be on the computer or out in the field with products. Especially now, everything about the supply chain is changing so quickly and so drastically. We really have no choice but to continue to switch strategies. So I might have an idea, but 10 minutes from now, it might be no good. And I absolutely do set goals. I don't feel that you can measure your accomplishments if you don't have goals there for you. And as far as anything that I would change, I think the only thing I would do differently is perhaps learn some of the stuff I've learned recently a little sooner. But other than that, no, I'm quite happy with the way my career has developed.
Great. How about you, Haley?
Yeah, so I guess my career playbook, it's kind of loose, kind of like what Robin said, because nobody has a crystal ball here. But GT French has been around for over 150 years. So my plan is just to see it succeed throughout the rest of my career and then hopefully for generations to come. As far as personal goals go, when it pertains to my career, I usually set them on a yearly basis. I find it easier to manage and measure that way. And then if I knew now back then, or if I knew what I know now back then, I don't think that I would change anything because every experience, every success, every failure that I've had has led me to where I am today.
That's a great perspective. Fabiola.
I completely agree with you, Haley. I'm going to do a little bit of a mix of everything here. I definitely would not change anything back then to what I know today. I think that every day I learn something new, and every day it helps me be the better person than I was the day before, and stronger in both my career and my personal life. So I don't think I would change anything. And like I said before, even if somebody had a crystal ball, I would not want it. Keep it, use it for whatever you want. I think just because on a daily basis, everything is different, everything is new. I mean, even a crystal ball might be wrong. Look at the weather, it changes every day, it's different. So I definitely would not change anything at all. My playbook, it's very much like Robin and Haley. I mean, out the window kind of, because everything has to change. You have to adapt when I think I have a strategy, something completely hits me out of nowhere and you're like, well, okay, I thought I had to figure it out. Let me just do this again. Let me adapt very quickly. Let me change, get creative, think outside the box. And I'm a little bit like Haley, where sometimes my team are like, you're just crazy. That's not going to work. Oh, it's going to work. We just have to try it and have faith and you'll see. And sometimes, yes, sometimes it works. Yay. Sometimes it doesn't. You're like, okay, back to the drawing board. Here we go again. And it's funny because I just bought, and then I have like 20 of these, by the way. I try to write my goals. I try to keep track. I do it every 3 months just because I used to do it on a yearly basis. And I realized that a year today, it really can change as quickly as in an hour. So now I try to do just quarterly. I write down my ideas, my goals, and things like that, and I try to review them and go back and change again. So taking it one day at a time is something that I'm learning from all the craziness that we've been through, and keeping an open mind, and just being, again, embrace change has definitely been something that I changed myself, and just keep going.
Awesome. Thank you. Haley, how has GT French dealt with the evolution that's happening in our sector?
Did you skip a question? Sorry.
I did. or the front half of it. Busted.
So I think the best way that you can deal with the situations that are happening right now is to have honest conversations with not only your teams, but your customers, and to provide as much education as possible. Because if you're not educated, you're not knowledgeable, it's going to be really hard for you to help your team or your customer navigate all the changes that are happening right now in the industry.
Okay, thank you. Fabiola.
I have to say my team, our entire merchants paper company, we're very, very, really family oriented. And for us, we make sure that, first of all, that our team were okay, that they were doing okay, that their families were doing okay, that every day that we came in, not knowing what to expect from our vendors, our deliveries, our customers, because they were so nervous, they didn't know what was happening. They didn't understand it. They didn't know what tomorrow would be like. And they were facing a lot of challenges as it was already. Restructuring, business closing, it was just very, very crazy. So what I really, really enjoy is that Merchants Paper Company, the first thing that every day they would come in and they make sure that our team were okay. And that if we were okay, then we would sit down, we would strategize, and, whatever that day brought in, then we dealt with it as it came along. And when we had, needed to have the lockdown, we right away set up the ones that needed to work from home. And again, just taking it on a daily basis and just kind of going with what the changes was happening and all that. So I was really, really, really proud that we did it that way. And it showed, right? It showed that we care for our staff. It showed the same way for our customers. We would call them in advance to see how they were doing, how they were struggling, if there was anything we could do to help, and work with them, get creative, and help them make sure that they had what they needed when they needed it. So it was a little bit of everything. And I have to say, we came even closer as a team, as a family, than ever, and always look forward to the following day to see what that day brings forward.
Oh, well done. How about you, Robin?
Well, I think both Haley and Fabiola touched on a lot of what we've done as well. Obviously, we are a master distributor, so in a supply chain craziness, we've had definite efforts to try to maintain our inventory levels and not be passing on price increases. That frustrates everybody in the supply chain. We put focus on our e-commerce platform I'm going to say the quietness of the pandemic, but it wasn't exactly quiet for our industry by any means. It just meant that we weren't face to face as often. So we were able to put our focus into our e-commerce so that we could still put things in front of the customers that allowed them to order online versus possibly sitting with a sales rep and actually placing an order that way. It also allowed them to see our inventory levels, so they had an idea of what their pricing was and their inventory right on the spot without actually having to discuss anything with anyone specific or having a sales rep in their face. And that's where we've put our focus. We also expanded our efforts to offer custom literature and other value-added options for our distributors.
Great. I'm going to throw this out to those watching the call. A reminder, if you have questions for our panelists, put them in the chat. We're coming down to our last few questions here, so keep that in mind. Haley, I'm not going to change the question on you. I'll read it exactly as we've both seen it. From the customer experience perspective, what are you seeing from your customer base? Have buying patterns changed? Has your customer base changed?
So over the past 5 years, we've experienced a huge shift in how we receive the inquiries and orders that come in from our customers. We used to get a lot more phone calls than we do now, and we had a lot less emails than we do now. And in customer experience, we've had to pivot twice to compensate for that shift. And we're in the process currently of pivoting again with new ticketing software just to handle the incoming requests. We've noticed that there are a lot of buyers that are looking for an omni-channel experience. So it's trying to find that balance between automation, but still keeping that personal relationship with our customers, because that's really what we pride ourselves on. And as far as the customer base changing, we've actually managed to maintain our customer base during COVID, which was no easy feat because of the supply chain issues, because of price increases. And with this new single plastic ban, like that's thrown a whole loop into things. But we're still growing. We're taking on new business with new customers, and then we're also taking on new business within our existing customer base. So everything's been really good, actually.
Excellent, excellent. So As Director of Purchasing, Fabiola, what are you seeing in the industry? And what struggles have you faced securing products that customers demand?
You know, I have to say a bit of where Haley mentioned the plastic ban has been truly another nightmare that we're dealing with today, right? I think that our customers, they were starting to kind of see that light at the end of the tunnel through the pandemic, and then they get hit with something else now, even more so that they have to restructure their business and once again, you know, look at their cash flow. They're very price driven, our customers today, and we are all seeing it now. The phone calls have increased, you know, because we developed the customer portal, our, you know, emails blast, like all of that through emails, you know, we're seeing more phone calls now because they are shopping around, and we're seeing that they're nervous, they don't know where to go. And if they can save, you know, 25 cents, they'll right away move to where they think they're going to get the best price. But then that price is not consistent. It changes the next day, and then they try to come back to us. And it's a little bit like this right now. It's making people nervous. Our vendors are struggling to keep up with demand right now. They don't, you know, they cannot have the product on hand, and then we run into back orders and things like that. And it's I'm still waiting for that light at the end of the tunnel to become even brighter than what it was beginning to get to. And now it's kind of like, you know, we've kind of gone down a little bit, but you know, we're doing really well. We're trying to always stay above waters. We're trying to be proactive, be supportive to our customers, have the opportunity to provide, you know, different alternatives and provide the best possible price that we can. Our business is growing 100%. We're doing, you know, better, and we're get feedback right away from customers where they're first thing they say, you know what, you guys are really being supportive. You're giving us options, and let us be the ones to make the decision. We go with you, we don't go with you. You always have alternatives for us. And when we need your support, you go above and beyond to provide us what we need to make sure we run our business, you know, the way that we have it. So I'm looking forward to 2024. I think a lot of people thought 2023 was going to be a much better year. I take that back, please. I'm looking forward to 2024, to be honest with you, just to kind of see consistency that we haven't been able to really experience in these past years. And I think everyone is really looking forward to just saying, okay, now we have a chance to breathe. Yeah.
Well, I hope that opportunity is there. My experience is it's hard to pine for normal because normal never seems to come. So, but Robin, as Advantage Maintenance Marketing Director, have your communications changed, if at all, to communicate with the changing marketplace?
Well, Haley touched upon the growth in email correspondence versus phone calls, and we are also experiencing the same thing. So we naturally have increased our email campaigns. Our sales reps are not necessarily out there flogging new products. They might mention our e-blasts. We've included content-based and educational marketing with our promotions to remind people. Again, we have as many as 5,000 products in our list, and not everyone remembers what we have. So we certainly include complimentary products in those promotions to remind people you can access quite a lot more than what we have just in our catalog. And our catalog's quite large as it is. We definitely, we've been doing a lot more web-based research with regards to what items we should be including in our basket of products. So again, it's all mostly marketing based and promoting the e-commerce platform because of the information that's available to our customers.
Okay. Turning to sales training, Haley, you referenced you've had sales training through Teneo. I'm curious, Robin or Fabiola, your roles are marketing and purchasing, but have you had exposure to sales training to help sell your company and its platforms forward? Robin, why don't you start?
Okay, I personally have not had any specific sales training other than having attended trade shows and been witness to other very professional salespeople. So it's not something I've done outside of just being in my role. And obviously for us, we inventory product to sell it, so sales are very important. But I am more on the marketing side. So,
okay, no, that's fair. Fabiola, how about yourself?
I have to say, I actually started as a sales assistant here at Merchants Paper Company, and I am so glad I did. I am so glad I did, because what it did for me prior to moving into the purchasing area for merchants, it really allowed me to see and feel what it is that our sales team feel out there, what they experience with our customers out there, how they communicate, how they interact with our customers. And they truly, when they're back in the office and have meetings with us in purchasing, they're there to represent the customer. And that really allowed me to even improve my skills as a director of purchasing, because I was able to restructure our purchasing team. The mindset is different, the vision is different. And it just gives you a little bit more leverage. But when you're negotiating with our vendors and you're asking not for you, but for the customer being at the end of the line, it just gives you more buying power. I'm really glad. I strongly recommend, sales one-on-one, like my team used to tell me all the time. It just, again, gives you a little bit more knowledge and a little bit more understanding, and definitely more power when you're negotiating, and it just brings up another, complete different way of seeing things. So I definitely strongly recommend it.
Oh, it's a great perspective. All right, last question, parting thoughts. I'm going to start with you, Haley, because I skipped you in that last round, or gave you credit for one of your previous answers. What advice would you share with anyone in this market and those interested in joining it? And by that, I mean, working for a distributor.
So we've touched on this multiple times today, but every day there will be a new challenge to face, but that's what makes it exciting. So you need to be brave. You need to be courageous, ask the questions that are hard to ask, have the conversations that are hard to have, but that constant open communication between you and your customer, or you and your teams, is going to be so important and valuable in moving forward. And then this is just a disclaimer kind of to anybody, but be kind. The past 3 years have been a struggle for everybody. There are lots of challenges and changes happening in the industry right now. So if we were all just a little bit more kind to each other, I think that it would just make things a lot easier.
That's very well said. Thank you, Haley. Fabiola.
I definitely agree with you, Haley. Be kind to everyone around you, to your team. Be kind to yourself. You're doing the best that you can. Go home and be proud that the day's work that you put in is the best. It was the best that you could do. And you could do better the next day, but definitely be kind on yourself. I actually have this that my CEO, Alan Cohen, he's like, don't be so hard on yourself, because there were so many times where I would get so frustrated and feel like I was failing, that I couldn't get what the customers needed. So definitely, Haley, you hit the target right there. Be kind to everyone. Be kind to yourself. Be confident. Be confident. Don't feel that you have a silly questions. No, the more questions you ask, the more information you have, the better and easier it's going to be to help you make decisions, especially when you're negotiating, we're helping your sales team. Again, at the end of the line is the customer. And if you're confused, it's not going to make sense to your team. The customer is going to get confused. Communications, definitely, please have that channel open. Listen to what is being provided to you. Listen to what your team is telling you. Communicate 100%. Try your best to, even if it's 5-10 minutes a day, always communicate with your team, because then the communication to the vendor, to the customer, just becomes a lot easier that way. But really the end of it though is be kind to yourself, and you're doing your best, and that's all you can do.
Great. And then Robin, we'll finish with you.
I will say also, please be kind, but also add, please be patient. We're all doing our best. It is a very difficult time frame. It has been for 3 years, but more than anything, continue to be willing to learn and you'll grow. You can't not grow when you're learning. That's
It's some common themes, I think, through a lot of the questions and responses today. The necessity for knowledge and constant learning, the importance for training and resources that help with that, the importance of communication. And yes, I do like the idea of being kind and being patient. This always connected digital world we live in, that's the other part of it. There seems to be this burning desire for immediate responses, right? And it's hard to do that at times too. So I don't see any questions in the chat. I'm going to say before I turn this over to Tanya, I think we had outstanding panelists today. 3 great executives that represented their respective companies extremely well, and 3 great professionals. So thank you so much for joining us today, volunteering your time, and making yourselves available for this. I really enjoyed the talk today. So Tanya.
Absolutely. I believe Raheel has a question.
Yeah, I do. I was waiting right till the end.
There we go.
There you go.
We're waiting right till the end. First off, I just wanted to thank all you guys for the amazing insight from the 4 of you. It was, as a young professional who's new to the industry, great knowledge and stuff there. And I can't wait to take this going forward for myself personally as a professional. I just wanted to ask you guys, when it comes to, getting to the right decision maker with a customer, what do you guys think that customers care more about when it comes to picking whether we're the right fit or not as a distributor? Do you think it's things like, the ability to be a one-stop shop and supply them with everything they need? Do you think it's, comes down to something as simple as price, the expert advice we provide? What kind of stands out to you that you think kind of most of your customers are like, this is what I really like about you guys, so I'm going to, stick with you guys?
Nice. Who's going to address that?
I'll pick Haley because she's the customer experience focus. So yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I'll jump in there. So I spoke a little bit about the training that I had taken through Teneo Results and the Future Ready Leadership Program that really focused on recognizing personality types and how to adapt to those personality types. Because I don't think I can give you one answer. I think that it depends on the type of person that you're dealing with. But recognizing, like if you're talking to somebody in finance, they're probably going to be an analytical person. So they're going to be relying on numbers and accurate information, detailed information from you in order to make the decision. But if you're talking to somebody that's expressive, they probably just want to be acknowledged, like, hey, how was your weekend? Or, oh, I remembered you went to that Blue Jay game last week. How was it? They want that interaction, that relationship with you. So it's really being a chameleon and adapting to each type of person. But at the end of the day, I really truly believe that if you can be a consultant to your customer, if you are very knowledgeable and you can speak to anything, any issue that they may have, and provide solutions for them, that's really what's going to come down to making the decision.
A lot of that, yeah. There was fairly recently, I think McKinsey shared the results of a survey they did of distribution customers and asked them to rank various attributes of distributors, and price wasn't the top of the list. I think a lot of customers want to go to price, and then you have to move the conversation beyond that. But stuff that customers really valued from their distributors were things like Haley described, being an expert resource, a consultative resource, being able to ship, as much as possible full and on time, so being a trustworthy partner and someone they can count and rely on, and then and then, you know, that being able to offer an omni-channel experience, especially as people want low differentiated commodity items, you know, maybe a self-serve option, and then work with the distributor sales reps for more complex solutions. So yeah, I think the key is moving beyond the price conversation and start to really understand what the customer needs are and how you can address those.
Awesome. Love that all. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Thank
I'm
you.
just curious, guys, you know, you all have boots on the ground in this industry. And during the pandemic, we oftentimes heard about supply chain anomalies, shortages. Are you still seeing that, or have things kind of stabilized for now? How about Fabiola?
I have to say, we're talking different categories right now. You know, commodities. I mean, we went from PPE, janitorial, toilet tissue, paper towels, where people could not find or buy enough of, whereas now we're dealing with food service because of the plastic ban. Just when you think again, you know, that we were starting to, you know, get a little bit of that light at the end of the tunnel, then you get hit from a different angle. And I think that completely differently. We're still seeing a lot of issues, a lot of delays. I've got 2 vendors that their containers have not come in for food service related product, product replacements because of the plastic ban. We still have customers today that are still wanting to buy the foam and the things that are, you know, that have been identified by it. They still want it because we have the grace period ending in December. The vendors that produced enough for Q1 in 2023 and are starting to run out don't have enough of the replacement for eco product. And again, you know, we're getting overseas coming in delays and things like that. And some, you know, customers unfortunately are reacting to that and they're getting frustrated. The ones that have been able to do the transition earlier, you know, from the foam and this to, you know, the replacements, they're getting frustrated. But again, you know, we're doing our best and just working together and trying to find the partners that can help us today, just to have what we need for our customers, so that again, their business is not being affected by it.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Allie?
So we like the supply chain, it's, yeah, like Fabiola said, it's changed from the PPE side of things, the toilet paper, which I still do not understand. And yeah, now it's more the food service things. And so nobody ever wants to turn away new business, but we do have customers calling us that have never dealt with us before that want product because they can't get it anywhere else. And we actually had to pivot during COVID, and we created a position called allocation coordinator for that very reason, because our customers that we've had for years and decades even are very important to us. And we wanted to make sure that we were looking after those customers and there wasn't somebody coming in and just, you know, buying a truckload of whatever it may be. So I think we're always going to have an issue in some way or another with supply chain, especially over the next 5 years, probably. But it's just how you manage that. And like, as customer experience, our job is to help people. So when people were calling and asking, do you have sanitizer? I need dispensers. We're mandated to have sanitizers in our stores or whatever it may be. We couldn't help them. And it was really difficult. And I really liked what Fabiola said about being kind to yourself, because that was a message that we kind of all had to say to ourselves every single day.
Awesome.
Now is the next big one, people wanting to return products or get credits for stuff with that has expired. So
Yeah.
Oh, really? Wow. So one more thing as we start to wrap up our session today, Robin, I can't let this session go by without asking you. You mentioned that you had authored a book. Can you tell us about this book? So
I've actually authored 2.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
What are they?
Now, My first book was actually an urban fantasy. It was a combination of witches and warlocks and paranormal. I completely delved into that by sitting at practices with my daughter. I had ideas and I just started spilling them. My second one was again a crossover, an alien kind of civilization melding with with humans, that kind of thing. My publisher, unfortunately, had gone bankrupt a few years ago. My books are visible on Amazon. They're just currently not purchasable.
Oh, wow.
I need to get that corrected. I have not spent the time to do that. And of course, I have many ideas for more. Just time is difficult.
Absolutely.
The pandemic certainly increased my business hours, that's for sure, trying to keep up. So,
Well, I couldn't let this session go by without asking.
thank you.
Well, thank you guys. I have to thank everybody for joining us today and the great information that was shared today. I hope that everybody can join us again next month on May 24th for the next episode of Coffee Talk. And if you haven't registered already, please register for the ISSA Show Canada, June 14th and 15th at the Metro Toronto Convention Center. Thanks, everybody, and have a great day.
Thanks very much.
Thank you for having me.